Hi everybody, Nutnfancy here. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be talking about this knife, a really good knife. It's a BenchMade Nimravus. This particular model is a plain edge black finish version and 154 cm steel. There's probably a lot of reviews on this knife out there. It's been around a while. However, I don't really watch too many knife review videos, and the reason is I want to kind of maintain my independence, and that maybe subconsciously I might be saying the same things the other reviews are saying. So I try not to do that so I can maybe get a fresh look somehow. And that's what I'm going to attempt to do with this Nimravus. I think it's a good knife, has a lot of good features. There are a couple features and qualities about the knife that I don't care for that may limit its practicality in the fixed blade tactical role. I know that term tactical is a little bit overused. To me it means defensive again, or war fighting. This would be a good knife. Perhaps that if we needed a utility fixed blade knife on our person in a deployment, if you're a soldier or in the military somehow, and then also you need to have a defensive capability with that blade as well. I think the Nimravus could fill that bill. Let's start talking about that sheath first off, because it's pivotal in the application of the Nimravus, and I think it's an excellent sheath. And a lot of manufacturers, I'm surprised they haven't duplicated it. The nice thing about the sheath, first off, is that it's not leather. It's Kydex or plastic, one of the two, don't really care which. The result is the same, and that is a sheath that's impervious to the elements. It drains well if it gets water in it, either from either side, carried like that, or upside down. Has a lot of good lash points, and that's a big plus, because that's mainly how I envision this knife being carried, in a vertical fashion, preferably on your LBE, which is load-bearing equipment, your tactical nylon. For me, I would put this on my non-rifle shooting shoulder, left shoulder. I would either use Ranger rubber bands, which are those thick, heavy-duty rubber bands you can get for Brigade Quartermaster, or I'd use 550 cord and or nylon lashing to get it to that vertical strap and really lock it in position. And in doing so, you got a blade that's very handy and very quick, and pretty secure too. Granted, we're carrying it upside down in that scenario. However, the blade locks pretty darn good into the sheath. If I push it in the sheath, here come the comments, you can hear a nice solid click. And then this is a somewhat of a safety mechanism. It won't totally lock it in there, because you can still withdraw the knife out from the sheath with that in the down position. I'll demonstrate. It'll still come out. So I guess it's supposed to provide a little more resistance to the knife extracting from the sheath. I'm ambivalent towards it. I don't think it's really necessary, but it doesn't get in the way either, in my opinion. So great job on the sheath. This sheath, as I got it, came with a Tech-Lock fastener. If you're not familiar with Tech-Lock, what it is a blocky, squarish nylon attachment device on the back of Kydex sheaths. It has a pivot point that allows you to put it onto a web belt of varying widths, if you will. It locks down and carries it nice and secure. I'll demonstrate that on some future videos. The downside in Tech-Lock is that it's heavy. It's at least 2 ounces for a medium size, I think, maybe 1.8, a little bit over 2 ounces for the large Tech-Lock fastener. I ditched that Tech-Lock, and what I got is the optional BenchMade belt clip. Granted, it's chrome plated, not tactical, but I don't really care. It's more resistant to elements that way. And it gives you, in my opinion, a secondary way to carry the knife, and that is on your belt. It won't fit a military web belt, which is 2 inches thick, I think. It will do well on your civilian belt, and it does have a very nice bent over clip to prevent it coming off. Although in my opinion it's kind of hard to get off, especially without bending that clip. So I have carried it like that. It will slide around a little bit. That's if you use a quick attached method. You could actually loop it through here too if your belt's narrow enough. So there's a lot of different ways you could carry the Nimravus. I think, once again, my favorite and most practical way would be to lash it to your load-bearing equipment with the mini grommet holes or the nylon holes here. So great job on the sheath, BenchMade. I really like the sheath. It's lightweight, it's strong, and it's tough, and it's very secure. Let's talk about the blade. It's a good looking knife, has a very nice blade shape to it, nice sweep for both utility and defensive tasks. You might notice my Nimravus is a little bit different than other plain edge varieties you may have seen on the internet or wherever, and that is I wanted this to have kind of a more deadly capability in the defensive role without hindering its utility role. And in doing so, I had my upper clip sharpened, and you can see how far back I came on it. I didn't do this, but I had it professionally done. I don't have the skill nor the materials or the tools to do that. You got to have a really fine hand, and the guy that did this did it freehand, by the way. Very skilled. BenchMade Nimravuses, they do come, or is that Nimravi? They come very sharp from the factory, as all BenchMades do in my experience. However, I did change the geometry on this blade slightly, backed it off, decreased the angle a little bit, and made this portion razor sharp. This upper sharpened clip is not razor sharp due to the steepness of the angle. Also, this blade is not full flat ground. It's about 3/4 from the spine. We go down towards our main cutting edge this way, and I really can't make that swage or that grind on that upper clip any deeper because I'll run into this spine right here and I'll reverse angle on it. But as it's sharpened, I'm really happy with the blade. I think it's more functional in the fixed blade tactical role, in my opinion. Looks a little bit nastier too, which is always a plus. So 154 cm, not much needs to be said about that steel. It's proven. I like it. I've had good experience with it. Good edge holding, not too hard to sharpen. And that leads us to the handle. The handle is slabs of G10 on the tang, which obviously is a full tang. And here comes our critique of the Nimravus, and this is just me. Your mileage may vary, but when I grasp the Nimravus with my hand size, which is not super large, but kind of towards a large size, I run out of real estate on this handle. It's just kind of smallish for me. That's the first critique I'll have. And then secondly, I would like to see these G10 scales extend all the way to match the profile of the tang. I don't really see a purpose to have this tang exposed like it is, raised above the G10, especially if you're in a cold environment where your blade is 0 degrees. You know, I don't have any reason in the world why my hand should be on metal. You know, bring that G10 up and shield me from that. It doesn't do anything for comfort or ergonomics, in my opinion. Granted, when it's 70 degrees out, who cares? But if it gets really cold, you're going to be feeling that steel unless you're gloved up. And you're pretty much not going to have gloves on when you operate this knife because the handle's so small, even if your hands are average size. And that's a critique I have on the Nimravus, is the handle size. I would like to see them extend that handle about 3/4, maybe at least a ½ inch longer. Maybe increase the size of those G10 scales to cover that spine up. And then also checker that G10 to make it purposeful. I mean, it's nice, it's beautiful, it's very aesthetic the way BenchMade did it, but it's pretty much worthless, the checkering on there. My hand slips a lot. And the type of checkering I'm talking about is the kind you'd find on a nice stock on a 1911 Colt that has that real sharp diamond checkering. That's the way G10 should always be checkered. Make it purposeful. Kind of like Emerson does. Emerson does an excellent job with their G10. Nice grip. I mean, it'd be nice if I had those scales. And I've thought about retrofitting this knife, and I still may do it. The G10 scales on this are attached with Torx, so if you do take this in the salt water, we can take these 2 Torx off, clean under that blade, which is a nice feature so it doesn't rust. On the good side, it has a nice thumb ramp. It's purposeful, it's functional, digs into the thumb adequately, has a little bit of extended choil here near the hilt so our hand won't go forward. So yeah, the handle's still small, but on the upside, it does lock in there towards the hilt better than most. As the package sits, the way I have it configured, i.e. taking that tech lock off, the BenchMade Nimravus, at least this model, is 8 ounces. And that is pretty lightweight if you ask me for a fixed blade tactical knife. The upsides of this design are that you don't have to mess around flipping it out. It's already deployed. All you have to do is extract it from the sheath, ready to go. It has that great strength of a fixed blade knife. The blade design does have a lot of utility on it too. It's great for cutting food, all kinds of camp chores, cutting materials, rope, good rust resistance, and a nice blade shape. Not too bad of a handle material. It is small and narrow, but overall the Nimravus is a nice tactical knife. If it had those other additions, it would be perfect. Thanks for watching.